Good morning, Miss Muse. It is Tuesday, April 30th of 2013. Sorry for my lateness in posting this, but yesterday my brain tried to excruciatingly crawl out my ears. So to make up for it today, I want to continue my discussion from last time and start talking about doubt. Now, there are really two kinds of doubt. The "is this really a good idea" kind, or the "am I good enough" kind. Now, the second kind also has two subcategories. The healthy kind, which is, do I have the skills to make certain that this is done well? Or toxic kind is, will I ever have the skills to do this? Will I ever succeed? Oh. Well, that might be a horrible overdramatization, but it happens. I mean, both of it's doubt in itself is really a defense mechanism. The entire point of having doubt is to protect you from harm. Physical or psychological. Generally, the "is this a good idea" harm falls into the realm of protecting you from real true harm, is it a good idea to run face first into this wall? Well, probably not. That's gonna hurt a little bit. Meanwhile, the second kind is more like, am I good enough to go out and get that job that I really, really want? Well, that all depends. Do you have the skills, the right personality, blah, 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 blah? Then go for it. But if you allow the doubt to tell you that you'll never have the skills to get the kind of job or the kind of girlfriend or the kind of life that you want, it's going to hold you back. And that really is doing you harm instead of preventing harm. So it's totally defeated the purpose of it even existing. Now, the really insidious part is that these two kinds of doubt can be mistaken for each other. And they often are. People will ask, is it a good idea for me to suddenly quit my job and go out and start a new business? Again, that depends. But the question you're really asking is, do I have the skills, the system, and the knowledge to quit my job and start my own business and actually be successful at it? So technically, you're actually asking the second kind, but the healthy type. Now, for instance, if you go at, is it a good idea to start writing this book that I've had in my head for eons that I think is going to be a really good book, but I don't think I'm a good enough writer, or I'm really bad at grammar, or holy crap, I don't know how to describe things. Well, you can learn grammar. Writing you can practice. Describing things is really an art of practice. But it gets into that toxic second form of doubt, when you're going, you keep yourself from doing something because you're afraid you'll never have the skills to do it. And it's actually blocking you from doing the things that you want. And using that toxic kind of doubt generally stems from having a fear that you haven't faced or some sort of blockage. And when I say blockage, I'm talking about some form of idea that is, I'm going to use the word wrong here, that is wrong about either yourself or the thing that you want to do. And that idea is keeping you from going forward. And no matter what anyone tells you, the information they give you, anything, you cannot be convinced otherwise. That's a blockage. A fear, on the other hand, is something that, I'm worried that this will happen, or I'm worried that this might do this, that sort of thing. Now, the The fears generally associated with doubt are the fear of failure and the fear of criticism. Somehow, as a society, we've got it into our head that being wrong or losing at something means that you're a failure. And it's not really true. Everybody is going to be wrong sometime. If the first time you were ever wrong meant that you were automatically a failure and you could never make it better, that means that we're all failures, end of story, blah, why do we even try? If losing means that you're a failure, then the first time that you lost, at chess, cards, your favorite video game, you would automatically be a loser for the rest of your life and a failure and blah, okay, why do we even try? But that's the thing, is that if you stop there and you don't keep trying, then you have failed. The only thing that you've actually given out is a failure. That's why, as cliche and horrible as we like to make it out to be, quitting is really the only way that you can fail. Now when I go into the fear of criticism is actually a little nastier than it sounds. Because the fear of criticism isn't actually the fear of criticism. It's the fear of shaming. Because, again, somehow in our society, we've come to the idea that if you don't like something, or you think that there's something wrong, and you can't name it, it's perfectly okay to call someone names because you didn't like a thing. That's not criticizing, that's a shaming tactic. You're trying to make someone feel bad because they didn't do what you think they should have done. Or you're jealous that they're doing something and you're not, or you feel guilty because they're doing something and you're not, and to make yourself feel better, you go out and you call them nasty names. That's shaming, and that's the real criticism that we're all afraid of. Because true, honest criticism actually says, well, I think you could do better here, or I think this project you're working on would be better if you did this. That's criticism. And while that might sting, it doesn't turn you into a giant ball of which is really what shaming is all about. So, I suppose the real message that I'm trying to get at here is that doubt is like a frenemy. You have to kind of take it with a grain of salt and learn to identify when it's bullshitting you. And once you can do that, you can actually use it to protect yourself in the way that it was meant to be done.